Okay, today we're going to talk about layer masking in Photoshop. So we're going to start with this first image of the telephone right here. So you're going to go ahead and download this. So you're going to click on the three dots, open a new window, and then go ahead and hit that download button. Once it's downloaded, we're going to go ahead and open it up in Photoshop. So let me close this. So you're going to go to Open, find your photo, and then hit Open. Your photo should be in your download folder. Okay, once it's opened, what we're going to do is make a selection of our telephone using the object selection tool. That's this one right here. Okay, so you've got your quick selection, your magic wand, and your object selection. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click and just drag across my telephone, and it's going to make a selection. So you want to make sure it's grabbed all the parts of the cord, the whole phone, the little feet, all of that. The next thing we're going to do is create an adjustment layer. So we're going to go to our layer panel. So if you don't have your layer panel and your toolbar open, remember you're going to go to window and make sure those things are open. Sometimes there's a check mark but you still can't see them. So just uncheck that check mark, go back into window and check it again, and then it should reappear. Okay. So we're going to go to our adjustment layers. Oops, not that one. And we're going to choose hue saturation for this one. So I'm going to click on hue saturation. All right, so it doesn't look like it did anything, but what it did, it cut out our phone. It gave us a little thumbnail right here. So this is called a layer mask. And what a layer mask does is black means whatever's not selected, so it's hidden, and white is your object that you selected. Okay, so what's going to happen now is when I use my properties on my adjustment layer, the phone is going to change colors, but the background is going to remain the same. Okay, so if I click on my slider, you can see that now my background is changing, or my phone is changing colors, but my background is remaining the same. Okay, so that is a layer mask in short. So I'm going to go ahead and save this file, or I'm going to export it, I'm sorry. So I want you to export it. So I want you to do that. So I want you to select it using the object selection tool, add a adjustment layer, doing hue saturation, and just change the color of the phone. You're going to export this file, file, export as. Make sure it's a JPEG file right here. Change the format to JPEG and hit export. Put it in your Google Drive, in My Drive, in your graphics project folder. Go ahead and rename it Colored Phone, so you know how to find it, and you'll turn that into Google Classroom. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close that one out, and if you get a pop-up asking to save, go ahead and hit Don't Save. You're going to go ahead and open the next file, which is going to be the church and the storm. So we're going to go ahead and download both of those. So clicking on the church, open a new window, and then going back, open a new window and then hit download, sorry about that. And then go to the church, the storm, open a new window, and download that file. Okay, let me close some of these out so I don't get confused. Okay, I'm going to go to Photoshop. The first one I'm going to open is the storm photo. So I'm going to hit open, or go to open right here. And I want to open this one first. So I'm going to go ahead and hit open. And you can see that, I'm going to move this properties over. I have one file, which is my background. Then I'm going to place the church picture right on top. So I'm going to go to File, Place Embedded, find the church photo, and hit Place. It should pop right on top and fit perfect. If it doesn't, go ahead and stretch it out to fit. Okay, so now what I want to do is isolate the field and the church. Okay, so I'm going to use my object selection tool again. Make sure my church layer is selected so it's kind of grayed out. I'm going to start my selection. I'm going to click right here and I'm going to drag across and I'm going to go right about to the top of the steeple, just like that. And then I'm going to let go. Okay, so what it's done, it's selected my field and my church. Make sure it's grabbed the steeple. If it didn't, go ahead and try to make that selection again. You might have to go up a little bit higher on your selection, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a layer mask all by itself without any adjustments. And what this is going to do, it's going to remove these pixels from the background. It's going to hide them. It's not going to delete them, but it will hide them. So if I click on my layer mask, which is the third option in, and if you hover, it tells you what it does. So it's a rectangle with the circle in the middle. That's going to knock out those pixels or hide them. Okay. So if I right click, I can disable it and hide what I did. If I right click and hit enable, it will bring it back. Okay, so if you can notice what it did, it hid the blue pixels and it revealed just the church in the foreground. Okay, so I've got some pieces over here that I might want to hide because I don't like the way that tree came out. So, and also back here. So what I can do is make sure I'm clicked on the thumbnail of my layer mask. Okay, so you want this piece to be selected. I'm going to go to my brush tool on my toolbar, and I'm going to make sure my colors are black and white. If these colors are not black and white, if you hit the letter D on your, let me show you if they're not black and white, what happens. I think this is going to turn to gray though. So if it's like different colors other than black and white, if I hit the letter D, that's going to default it back to black and white. Okay, I can swap the foreground and background colors by using this arrow. Okay, I can also hit the letter X on the keyboard to swap between black and white. Okay, so look at the layer mask. Black is going to hide and white is going to reveal. Okay, so I want to hide these pixels right here because I don't like the way that tree came out. So what I'm going to do is go to my brush tool with a black paintbrush. Okay, and I'm going to make my brush a little bit smaller. And what I'm going to do is just come in here and paint on these pixels, and it's going to hide that tree. Okay, now let's say for some reason I wanted to bring it back. If I swap this to white and I paint back on, it'll reveal that tree again. But you can see it brought back more of the blue. Okay, so I'm just going to click and swap it to black. Okay, from here, let's say my church is super bright, but my sky is kind of dark and gloomy, and I kind of want it to match. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on the layer over here to deselect the layer mask. And I'm going to go to my adjustment layer. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to go to, I can either do black and white, or I could do vibrance. Let's try vibrance. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. So whatever, I want you guys to mess around with those adjustment layers and see what works best for you and your taste as an artist. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down the vibrance and probably the saturation just a little bit. And what that's going to do, it's going to kind of blend my layer together. Okay. So what if I just wanted it to only affect this layer? What I could do is right click and go create clipping mask. What that does, it clips it to this layer and only allows it to affect the layer right below it. Okay, so if you can notice, I'm going to release this, and you can see that the sky will match the gray, right? It's kind of grayish now, but when I go create clipping mask, only the church and the grass is kind of muted, not the sky. Okay, so again, it's a personal preference, however you want to adjust it, make it look, that's completely up to you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and save this file. So we're going to go to File, we're going to go to Save As, and you're going to put it in your Google Drive folder in My Drive under your graphics project, and you're going to name it Stormy Church. And then hit Save. We're going to go ahead and export it. So File, Export, Export As, and we're going to export it as a JPEG file. Export. Make sure to put it in your Google Drive folder. So if you just saved it in your Google Drive folder, if you click here, and if you're seeing it condensed like this, you want to open it up like this. Hit here, and then find your graphics project folder. It should be under Recent Places, and then you can hit Save, and this will save your JPEG file. Okay, so you're going to turn both of those files into Google Classroom, into this assignment, okay? Don't worry about the trees or the flowers. So go ahead and turn in the final image of the church and the storm together, and then the phone.